Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Michael B, and we've got a fun video talking about some home arcade news, speculation, and rumors today. First up, I want to talk about Wonderland Amusements and Alice Goes to Wonderland 3/4 scale or 80% to scale pinball machine, physical pinball machine. It hit Kickstarter today, so we'll talk about, did it reach its goal on the first day? And can you expect, if you're a backer, to actually receive this machine? On top of that, we're going to do a follow-up on Basic Fun because obviously the day of the announcement or the day news broke, a lot of people were super excited because we're getting cool titles and there's hope, but I want to inject a dose of reality into that. You have to remember the company this is coming from and then share a little bit of community speculation with you. But before we get into that, I want to say thank you so much, everybody, for checking out the video. Guys, I always appreciate the support. If this is your first time to the channel and you like what you see, go ahead, subscribe, click the bell for notification, all that YouTube jazz. So first up, I want to talk about Wonderland Amusements. As everybody knows, today is the day this project is hitting Kickstarter. This is the little project that has captivated the minds of home arcade fans as pinball ownership seemed to be too far out of reach, coming in at a minimum purchase price of around $7,000 for a Stern Pro, or around $5,000 for a Stern Home Edition. So the fact that we were going to get this good-looking physical pinball machine for under $1,000 seemed to be too good to be true. And a lot was depending on the Kickstarter actually being successful. Well, for those of you that were excited about this 80% to scale physical pinball machine that we've been following for the last number of months, really announced at the Pinball Expo in Chicago, I've got some good news because the machine on its first day on Kickstarter has been fully funded, and fully funded in a very big way. It was actually fully funded in the first 2 minutes. Now, a lot of people are saying that's incredibly fast, but I would say you have to understand 2 minutes won't seem fast to everybody. It's all relative. Like my friend Nostalgia here, who says to his wife, 2 minutes is a really long time. Well, not only did they hit their Kickstarter goal, which they did in the first 2 minutes, they currently have 337 backers and have collected just short of $500,000 Canadian on the first day. That is basically about 3 times the goal they set out for this entire campaign, which still has another 29 days to go. So for people that were out there concerned that this pinball wouldn't come to market, I think it's safe to say you guys are going to be getting your Alice Goes to Wonderland pinball machine. Now, like I mentioned on my Chillin' Chat Monday night, this is the first of 2 big community-related home arcade projects that we've been waiting to see if they'll get funded. We now know there's no concern. The Alice Goes to Wonderland pinball has been funded, so the product will be moving forward. Next, let's hope the community shows the same kind of support to our buddy Glenn Planamento with the GRS Buildicade FU, slated to hit Glenn funding or a pre-order later this month, and hopefully people show out the exact same way and that machine sells similar to what we saw from Alice Goes to Wonderland, so we can see the FU get to people in their homes. Now, there's just a little bit more information to share on this. As we know, a couple days ago, prior to the Kickstarter going live, they did announce that anybody who signed up for the Kickstarter would get a 1-year warranty with the machine. As to when it hits retail, it's only going to be a 90-day warranty. And we also knew about the early bird pledge that you can see here that was initially $7.99. That early bird pledge was only for the first 100 people. However, they did actually bump that number up and they did the first 200, and that's still sold out in no time flat. So if you are looking to get in on this Kickstarter right now, you are on the second tier, $849. So, I mean, that's awesome news for the community, for people that were excited for this project. And me personally, I'm happy for Peter. I'm happy for Jerry. I'm happy for the whole Wonderland Amusement teams. I knew this was a passion project for them. They were really excited about it and staked everything on this, and I'm so happy it succeeded. And I can't wait to see what it plays like at WonderCon when my friend BCon goes there, checks it out. Everybody stay tuned to his channel. I'll leave a link down in the description below for some in-person feedback on how the machine plays. Anyways, switching gears, let's talk about the other really exciting news that came up in the home arcade community this past week. We found out that it looks like Arcade1Up has some pretty serious competition in the replica home arcade scene, with Basic Fun making a big statement at New York Toy Fair 2025. So it was just this past weekend when news of this podcast starring the irate gamer called Geek Time broke to the home arcade community, thanks to our buddy Kevin Clausen, whose keen eye caught this stuff, and we learned all about, or got confirmation of, Basic Fun entering the home arcade market with some very exciting news about a bunch of licenses, a bunch of different models, and a fall 2025 release date. So what we found out, I'll go over in detail again, is that Basic Fun is coming out with what seems to be a competitor to Arcade1Up. They've got 5 distinct arcade levels with a countercade version. They've got a kids junior version. They've got a slimcade version, which is 8 inches smaller than the standard 3/4 home arcade. They've got a ultra, and they've got a supreme model. So we've got the price points on those as well. Countercades are coming out at $180 US. The kids version is $250. The slim version is going to be $450, while the ultra is going to be $500, which we assume is comparative to a deluxe cab. It looks like it's going to have a light-up marquee. It's going to have speaker grill covers. And then the Supreme version, which is going to be sold at a $599 price point, but only at club stores, $800 regular retail, is going to be a little bit more supreme. It's going to have additional games, as they're indicating that the Ultra is going to have 50, while the Supreme has 60, and it also has a light-up marquee, speaker grill covers, but this one also has a coin door. Now, what's really exciting about this is the licenses that they announced. They announced they have Pac-Man, they announced they have Atari, which we're assuming is Centipede, they announced they have Star Wars, and they're doing a Return of the Jedi variant. They announced they have TMNT, and then with TMNT, they said they're also going to have the NES games on that, basically Cowabunga collection, as well as some other Konami arcade games. And then last but not least, probably the bombshell news, they're doing a Wrestlefest cab, a WWE WWF, for those of us who remember, Wrestlefest cab that's going to have all the WWF, Technos, Arc System Works wrestling arcade games, as well as a bunch of the other library from Arc System Works wrestling arcade games that fit into that motif. Games like Matmania and Tag Team Wrestling. Now, while there is a lot to get excited about there, because not only are we getting another competitor to Arcade1Up other than Iconic Arcade, making recreation arcade cabinets, we're actually getting a new license that has never been done in the home arcade space, and one many people thought couldn't be done in Wrestlefest. So there's a lot of stuff to be excited about there, but I do want to caution you, this is Basic Fun, so let's talk about the company and some realities here. First up, this isn't Basic Fun's first foray into the home arcade space, as they have been around for a number of years, and they had previously an arcade classics line. Now, I'm sure most of you guys saw these at Walmart and other major distributors, but these things weren't exactly high quality. You could find them for 20 bucks, and a lot of them had console ROMs, and they were basically really cheap shit. Not something a lot of us in the home arcade space probably really enjoyed. There you can see their Pac-Man. They've also got a Tetris cab, a red Tetris cab. I remember seeing a red Mortal Kombat one time, and it was just so heinous looking, I didn't even think I'd pay $20 for it. So keep in mind, this is the company making these products. Next up is a bit of news that I actually didn't know, and I'll give credit to James Hates Everything because he reported on this when the Basic Fun home arcade rumors first came up. Going back to July 3rd, 2024, Basic Fun actually declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy and then restructured their company. So this is a company that has recently gone through a bankruptcy that's now bringing out these new products. Does bankruptcy mean that the company doesn't have any money? No, it doesn't mean that. It means they went through a process to restructure, but you question how much money and effort are they putting into a new product line coming out of a bankruptcy. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I just want to make it clear to people that this is something that happened as soon as last summer. I'll leave a link to this article down below so you guys can read for yourself and find out a little bit more about it. Now, another thing to keep in mind here, look at Pac-Man, is that nobody has actually put eyes in this community, or any of the content creators have seen pictures of these products or video, images, anything to make a comment on how good they are. We don't know what they look like. We don't know how accurate a recreation they are of the original cabs. We don't know what kind of screen they have in them. Do they have a 4x3 BOE monitor, TN monitor, or are they doing the same thing as Arcade1Up and putting a 16:9 monitor in it? Unfortunately, that section of the Basic Fun booth was sectioned off, and only the people that went there could go in without camera, without any audio equipment. So we're going to have to wait to see from Basic Fun exactly what this product is before we get too excited. And the only thing we do know that Basic Fun brought to this toy fair is the stuff shown off in most of the videos that are out there. And believe me, we have tried to find shit. Now, for those of you who are out there that are hoping that Basic Fun is going to offer a product better than Arcade1Up, I do want to caution you a little bit because, again, like I said, we haven't seen this yet, and there's some community rumors out there that I want to make you aware of. For those of you who are only interested in these if they're higher quality than Arcade1Up, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. As it turns out, or as it seems from what we're hearing from the community, these are essentially going to be pretty much the exact same thing in terms of quality. So you're going to get the same kind of quality light-up marquees. You're going to get the same kind of quality buttons and sticks. They did talk about their quality specifically when they talked about their Star Wars cabinet, and they said their yoke they thought was better than Arcade1Up. That's actually one of the better products Arcade1Up has ever made when it comes to quality and controls is their yoke, but I wouldn't say that's a reflection of the quality of the rest of the products. One specific thing I heard from a community source was basically Basic Fun were scouring the arcade parts community trying to find the cheapest and most affordable parts they could in order to build their cabinets. The other thing I find incredibly interesting about this situation is if you look at the form factors that Basic Fun have announced with a Countercade, a Junior, a Slim, basically a Deluxe, and basically an XL, there's one form factor that has been a popular longtime seller for Arcade1Up, that being the Classic line. So I do question if this is in fact one of Arcade1Up's most marketable and profitable lines, and seemingly the only line Arcade1Up is moving forward with. Why doesn't Basic Fun do a model at that level as well? So that's where we get into a little bit of community speculation going on right now, and, take this with an extreme grain of salt. But a lot of people are saying it's convenient that Basic Fun, who just went through a bankruptcy, now all of a sudden have all this money and all this ability to go out and secure these very big licenses like Disney, like Konami, like Nickelodeon, and then make these games. And yet Arcade1Up is literally doing nothing and doing nothing about it. Could Arcade1Up have just, lost these licenses and Basic Fun came in with a windfall of new funding to secure them? Yeah, that's possible. But there's another theory that's out there that's kind of interesting in the fact that maybe the relationship between Arcade1Up and Basic Fun isn't competitor. Maybe it's like they're working together. So as you guys obviously know, Arcade1Up did put out a press release a little while ago indicating that they had just secured an additional $20 million in funding against their accounts receivable that was going to help them because they were currently experiencing cash flow issues. So this is where this speculation and rumor grows some legs, is the fact that it seems like Arcade1Up maybe doesn't have the cash flow to make all the arcades they have made in previous years. So the concept now is coming out there that maybe Arcade1Up is essentially working with Basic Fun or sub-licensing them the concept and maybe some of the licenses in order to make these arcades, with Arcade1Up receiving a percentage on the back end. The concept is basically Arcade1Up doesn't have the money to make them, and instead of just letting this concept and license run stale, at least they can work with another company to actually produce the cabinets, keep their contract in place, and at least make a percentage of the sales going back. Now, I just think that's speculation, but I did want to throw it out there as a possibility.
Einhorn is Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn!
Now, to throw a little bit of cold water on that theory, I want to go back to my original rumor, and this is where this partnership or friendship seems to have fallen apart or doesn't make sense, is the fact that if you go back to the original convention early and the original concept, Atari themselves were using Basic Fun as a counterpoint to work to leverage up their licensing agreement with Arcade1Up, because supposedly they weren't happy with it. So they were working with Basic Fun against Arcade1Up. That hardly seems realistic then, that Arcade1Up and Basic Fun would be in bed working together, allowing these companies or licensees to use them as leverage against each other to up the amount of their contract. And then to tie the whole video together, there have been rumors that Jerry from Wonderland Amusements, previously who worked with Arcade1Up, may be involved in the development of these Basic Fun cabs. I will report that I did hear from someone I know pretty closely. They reached out to Jerry, and Jerry confirmed he is not working with Basic Fun, so we can put that rumor to bed. So anyways, that's all the news for today. Once again, I want to say congratulations to the people who backed, who are excited about getting their Alice Goes to Wonderland Pinball. And I really want to say congratulations to the team at Wonderland Amusements. Congratulations on getting this thing across the finish line, reaching your goal, and I'm excited to see the product at WonderCon and see what people think of it. Next up, again, I just wanted to follow up on the whole Basic Fun piece. It's so exciting that there is this other entity out there that seems to be filling the gap, jumping in on this major market that Arcade1Up seemingly created and coming out with new products. But I do say we should be cautious, not get too excited until we get more information. Of course, we haven't even seen a product yet. These could be shitty. I really hope they're not shitty. And you have to keep in mind who exactly this company is. This information's out there, easy to find. Of course, their old products, and of course, the bankruptcy news. And if you believe some of the community rumblings, like I said, if you weren't a fan of Arcade1Up because of the quality of their buttons and sticks, you're probably not going to be a fan of the Basic Fun cabs either. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of the Kickstarter news for Alice Goes to Wonderland Pinball? Did you back it? Are you still considering? Let me know. And of course, Basic Fun, sorry to be a bit of a wet blanket, but are you excited about this potential lineup? Or are you like me, cautiously optimistic, but still waiting for more information? And more than anything else, waiting to see what the product looks like. Anyways, guys, thank you so very much for watching. This is Michael B. the Game Genie. I'll talk to you next time.